My name is Patrick Stanley. I'm an MBA student at North Carolina A&T State University. I'm studying for the supply chain management concentration. Today, I'm going to present my research on detention, safety, and supply chain management. For my introduction, truck driver detention has decreased from 2014 to 2018. Detention can have a negative effect on operator hours of service, safety, and supply chain efficiency. Detention can often relate to late deliveries and disruptions for the supply chain network members with varying impacts. My method is to use studies and reports that can be used to quantify the results found, and my objective was to find evidence to support how and why detention affects safety, hours of service, and supply chain management. I've concluded that detention is an area for future study and research. The biggest gap that I found in the research is that most of the information for detention is usually tied to hours of service and to the carrier, not necessarily a direct link to supply chain management. Here in this slide, I'm going to describe how detention is defined. Detention time is defined by the waiting time that a driver has to wait for his truck to be unloaded. It can range from 2 to 8 hours. And the biggest problem with detention is that it cannot be accounted for or planned for once it occurs. And once the time is lost, it can't be recovered. And this has a negative effect on driver availability, efficiency, and safety. And also with supply chain ERP systems are used for forecasting, and the attention time is not accounted for in those in ERP systems, and that affects order fulfillment. Here, this is a diagram of where detention more than likely occurs. You see here at the bottom that detention time typically occurs at the shipper's facility during transporting cargo, at a distribution center, and at the receiver's facility. At these facilities here, it really depends on what type of workforce is available, because depending upon how efficient that the workers are at each of these facilities, that has an effect on detention time. So say for instance, if a crew is they're not as efficient and competent as far as unloading and loading a truck, that could be it'll take a longer time to load the truck, or if those personnel aren't available, the truck will have to end up waiting until the workers show up to unload or load the truck. Here, this slide just describes what are some of the major causes of detention. That's basically what was described in the previous slide. And also these effects with detention, these have effects down that transcend down the supply chain, because it increases lead times for order fulfillment. It can make inventory costs rise, and then you can have stockouts that occur, and then that can also lead to cost of lost sales, and then you have expensive shutdowns, lost income for drivers and carriers, and an increased rate of driver accidents. Biggest thing with order fulfillment is that with say for instance at a store, most of the inventory at a store is forecasted on an average about 25 days. Now, depending upon if that truck shipment is delayed for any time, that inventory in the store that could run out before the shipment gets there, and then the customers will also see that the product is out, and they'll take their business elsewhere. Customers don't care why the product's not available. It's not available. Thank you.